Could Renegades be the first DLC without a new patrol zone? In the Lawless Frontier Vidoc, Bungie did not mention any sort of patrol zone. All they mentioned was the campaign and that there was a map on Europa, Mars and Venus for the Renegade activities. This begs the question, is there actually a patrol zone or not? I'm personally leaning towards no, which leads into my next question. Is that good or bad? I can already gauge how a lot, if not the majority, of the community would react to no patrol zone. Just look at the reaction to Edge of Fate not having any strikes. People were disappointed and angry, but strikes are just story missions but worse, and whether this was their true purpose or not, they only existed to lengthen a campaign and pad out other activities like the strike playlist. This became very obvious with Edge of Fate, which marked the sunsetting of both Grandmaster Nightfalls and Vendor ranks, the two main reasons that players engaged with the Vanguard node in the first place. The quality and experience of Edge of Fate was not lessened with the exclusion of a strike or even lost sectors. To be frank, Edge of Fate is one of the best DLCs that Bungie has put out there. Every time there's critique of the DLC, half of the comments are about free-to-play systems that were updated or introduced at the same time, which have no correlation to whether the DLC is actually good or not. Was Edge of Fate perfect? No. But was it bad? Also no. So what happens if Renegades does not in fact have a patrol zone? Well, apart from community uproar, I think this could actually benefit Destiny. How often do you revisit a planet after the honeymoon period of a DLC? I bet the answer is not very often. There's little to no reason for someone to go back to the Throne World or Europa. The Pale Heart is a little different because it has two sources for exotic class items, but it's also just easier to buy them directly from Xur. So again, there's no reason to return. Basically, a lot of developer time goes into creating new patrol zones when they have such short lifespans in terms of playtime. This issue also extends to DLC activities where players get what they want and then never return because there's no reason to. They can't farm materials and they can't farm any type of world adjacent weapons either. There's not even a leaderboard aspect where players are playing for the sake of competitiveness. Destiny Rising has that, by the way, a leaderboard. I'm jealous of a gacha. That should not be a thing. Of course, there's no way to create a destination or activity with infinite replayability. People are going to get bored, and there will be a time where players have all the gear they need. But the goal is to delay that as much as possible and give players a reason to engage with old content. This would only be a plus for Bungie, but Bungie does not do this. In fact, they have a very consistent history of spending dev time on activities, only to even not consider the future of said activities or straight up sunset them for no reason. Cough cough, seasonal activities and Grandmaster Nightfalls. With the real possibility of there being no new destination with Renegades, this leaves the Renegade activities as the primary way to engage with the DLC outside of the campaign. Essentially, Bungie has hopefully forced themselves to think of their activities as part of the game instead of just part of the DLC. This also means that without an actual patrol zone, campaign missions will likely be set on their own maps, meaning Bungie does not need to worry about connecting all the areas together in a way that feels natural, and perhaps it will allow for a higher quality campaign. Basically, no patrol zone, to me, means that Bungie will have more time to put work into both the campaign and the activities, hopefully creating both a better and longer experience that can survive after the honeymoon period. But with no new patrol zone, how is Bungie going to pad out the campaign? In nearly every DLC, there are often moments where you need to do something in the patrol zone to continue with the campaign. But with no patrol zone, that's obviously not possible. So, Bungie has either designed the campaign to be played consecutively with no gaps in between, or you will need to do a certain amount of Renegade activities between missions. In the Vidoc, Bungie mentioned that part of the story is that we are interacting with the criminal underworld on Mars, and working for different factions to gain favour and intel. I mean, it sort of makes sense. Who wouldn't want to have the Guardian work under them? But also, can't we just threaten them into giving us what we need? We're literally paracausal, and we defeated an entire race combined into one megamind looking being. Maybe there's galactic laws we don't know about, or maybe we're just trying to play it safe so the big bad cabal don't catch on. While I'm sure there's going to be some missions involving the different factions, I believe that the primary way in which will work for them is the Renegade activities, which as far as we know, are smuggle, bounty hunt, and sabotage. Not exactly something that a law-abiding citizen would be doing. But what this means though is that these activities will likely be sprinkled in between missions to some extent, and it is possible that by the time players have finished the campaign, they are either bored of the activities or already have all the gear they need. This is why it's going to be critical for Bungie to ensure that they have designed the activities with longevity in mind. There being no potential patrol zone should hopefully allow them to do that. And that is all the rambling from me, at least for now. Let me know in the comments how you would feel if Renegades did not actually have a patrol zone. I personally think it could be good, but it all depends on how Bungie changes their design philosophy to reflect that major potential change. Just keep in mind that it's not outright confirmed that we're not getting a new patrol zone, it just seems that way from the Vidoc. As always, thank you for watching, have a great day.